welcome to today's Olushi Inspires. It's really been a while, but thank God I'm here today. You're very welcome. And then today we'll be learning something from a Bible character. We'll be looking at a Bible character and study that character and learn something from that character. That is what we'll be doing today. And we'll be taking our Bible reading from the book of First Chronicle, chapter number 4, verse 9 and 10. Okay? The character we're not going to be studying today is Jabez. You know Jabez, the story of Jabez. Okay, let me read on. It says, "And Jabez was more honorable than his brethren, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, Because I bear him with sorrow." Okay, verse 10 says, "And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that thou wouldest bless me indeed, and enlarge my coasts, and that thy hand might be with me." That is Jabez. The mother called him Jabez because she bore him in sorrow. You know, Jabez is someone that was more honorable, more blessed, that has a bright future, that has been destined to be great. But what surrounded Jabez was not looking like a bright future, was not looking like someone that had a great end, that has a great future. So Jabez was actually meant to be great, but Jabez was not seeing that greatness around him. All around him was sorrow, and that is the circumstance that surrounded his birth. Because at the time he was born, his mother was in sorrow, so she had to name him based on the circumstance that surrounded the birth of the child. And you know one thing, that's a circumstance, that sorrow, followed Jabez. It made Jabez not to fulfill his purpose, not to achieve the greatness. God actually created Jabez to be great, more honorable. If you can remember the verse, he was more honorable than his other brethren, but he couldn't come out, to fulfill his dream, his great dream, because there were things holding him back. And Jabez lived like that for years. But thanks be to God, he realized himself, and he went to God in prayer and said, "Oh God, would you not bless me and enlarge my coast?" Now, one thing you will learn from here is, yes, he was meant to be great. Yes, he was born great. Yes, he was destined to be great. But that greatness didn't show up until he did something, until he took action, until he realized that he needed to take his destiny by force. So that is one lesson we need to learn. Yes, God has blessed us. Yes, God has destined us to be great. Yes, He has said, oh, that's why the Bible says, great and effectual door I have opened, but there are adversaries. Yes, God has, you've been born to be great, but you need to contend with it. Even when he gave the children of Israel the land, the promised land, He said they should go and contend with the strangers that were occupying the land filled with milk and honey. He blessed them, but then they need to contend with the strangers. They were possessing what belonged to them. The lesson we need to learn here is, yes, you were born great. Yes, you were born, you were destined. God has proposed, God has created you to be a great person. Now, if you see that you're not really living up to what God has, how God has meant it for you, you don't just keep calm. You don't just stay there and wish. You don't just stay there and hope it comes. You need to contend with it. You need to rise. You need to pray. What did Jabez do? Jabez prayed that God should bless him, even knowing that he God had already blessed him and made him honorable. He saw that he wasn't living up to expectation. He had to rise and pray. Would you not bless me and enlarge my cause? So one lesson we should go home with today is that if you have seen that your life, how God has, created you, what God meant for you, what God has created it to be, if you see that you are not living up to it, don't just sit there and watch or wish. Stand up and contend. Stand up, because there are adversary in every blessing, in every open door. There is a fight, there is a war, there is something you need to contend with for you to get your blessings. So, what in if your life is not going as planned by God, don't sit there and watch, okay? Stand up, pray, contend with the adversary so you can get your blessings, so you can live up to you can live to fulfill your purpose in life. So that is one lesson we have learned from the character Jabez. His mother bore him in sorrow. Sorrow surrounded him. But Jabez, took his destiny by force. He contend with the forces that were hindering him. And God blessed him. The Bible says, and God granted his request. For God to grant his request, God answered his prayer and blessed him. So likewise you need, if your life is not going the way God planned it, don't sit back, don't watch, don't wish. Stand up and contend with whatever that is contending with your blessings. And I know and I'm sure that God in heaven will grant your request and give you victory. So that is what I have come to tell you today, and that is the lesson we have learned from the character Jabez. So let's replicate same in our lives, and I know that we are victorious already. Yes, we are victorious already. I'll see you some other time. Keep being the very best person that God has created you to be.